And to think that this same service that healed and gathered billions of people around the world, I use the word billions of people around the world, is happening again on the 9th to the 11th of July is something to shout about. And now to celebrate and shout about this life-changing program, we have Pastor Kingsley in the studio. Pastor Kingsley, good to have you here again. We cannot not talk about one program that brought smiles to the face of many in the time where it seemed like there was doom all around, where it looked like there was a lot of sorrow all around. The Healing Streams Live came just at the right time. It was an answer to the prayers of millions. Now we can say boldly, billions all around the world. And we saw the first one in the month of March. And we are still recording testimonies from the very first edition. And now we're preparing for the next one. But before we talk about the next one, the very first one, every single day, there has been a program that has stemmed out of the first Healing Streams with the man of God, Pastor Chris. Tell us, how has it been? You've been on that program every single day and interacting with these people whose lives have been changed forever. Not circumstantial changes, forever.
Thank you very much. It's important that I say a big thank you to our man of God, Pastor Chris, for the opportunity to have such a program like this. You know, you're talking about a program that has changed billions of lives. It's truly correct. You know, I tell someone the Healing Streams Live healing services is not a good idea. It's a God idea. It's God's idea. And for me, it's God's strategy for this time. It's God's strategy for this time because every single individual that has been a part of the program has benefited tremendously. It was 3 days and 3 days of unending testimonies.
Wow.
I mean, this is way months over the program held, but the testimonies have been coming in back to back. And, you know, not just testimonies of healing, you're talking about testimonies of churches being planted as a result of the program. And ministers of the gospel around the world have, you know, experienced ministry with ease just because of the Healing Streams Live healing services. So it's way beyond healing for the body. It's making the body of Christ come to its place, you know, in the world that we live in today.
Wow, awesome. You know, the other time when we had you on set, where we had the opportunity to talk about the previous healing stream that happened, you mentioned something. You said it wasn't just healing for the body. And that was exactly what it was. I remember a testimony of a lady that said she couldn't sleep. As little as that was what, I mean, that was the healing she received. And she could sleep. This is something that God gave us freely. So I just wanted you to talk more on, I mean, some of the testimonies that have come. I know there's a particular one that I saw recently, a lady that was in the hospital. You know, the beautiful thing about this healing stream is that it doesn't just get one person. It gets a whole lot of people. The family, people that knew you with a particular condition, you know, and then all of a sudden you're snapped out of it, you know, just by praying or being at a meeting with our man of God. And I remember a lady saying that she was in the hospital with oxygen on her face, and she actually, you know, was watching on her phone. She had different other people in the same ward with her. And, you know, just like that, she took it out, and that was it. I mean, every other person at that ward, obviously, you know, were blessed. They gave their life to Christ. They wanted to, of course, participate in the midst. So can you just share with us some of, you know, just outstanding testimonies?
All right. Now, the program was such that we didn't just have the program streamed to churches alone. The program was streamed to churches, to prison yards. It was streamed to correctional centers. It was streamed to hospitals. It was even streamed at the beach.
Wow.
You know, so it's a program that gave opportunity to people from different walks of life the opportunity to participate. Now, talking about the testimonies, this particular lady in South Africa, of course, had a kidney problem, and she was hospitalized. So she had the opportunity to hear about the program. So she made provision to have the program streamed. Now, in the ward where she was, of course, had about 7 other patients in the same ward. And when Pastor was ministering, pastor gave a word, of course, concerning individuals who were sick, and of course should place their hands. Now, she said she placed her hand where she needed a miracle. Now, interestingly, the 7 other patients in the ward were not necessarily participating with her because she was using a device. But when pastor gave the word, now she didn't just receive healing. The other 7 patients in the same ward with her were discharged with her.
Wow.
And beyond that particular word, the next day, when she was leaving the hospital completely, other patients also got healed. So while talking to her, I said something to her. I said, you didn't just receive healing for yourself. Your faith was released for every other person that was participating in the program. We have another instance where a policeman in the station was participating. He had a back pain. He had a back pain for a while. So, of course, himself and other colleagues participating. And pastor gave a word concerning a man that had a back pain. Instantly, he responded to the word and he got healed. We also have in prison yards, some of these convicts giving their lives to Christ.
Wow.
So for me, it's a program that really touched several lives. We've had people who had to stand in for their family members that were not even within range of participation. And they got testimonies of healing. In fact, there was a very lady who shared her testimony. She wanted to be a soldier, but her child was having a serious issue. So because of that, it affected her, and she also had a back pain, so she couldn't really go through the process of being in the army. But while participating, she said, I wanted to allow my daughter, my attention was on my daughter to get healed. But while pastor was ministering to children, she also received that healing.
Wow.
So we had people who didn't care about themselves so much. They just wanted a family member, a friend. But you see, God had every single person in mind.
Yeah.
Talking about this particular case you said, I always, why I smiled was that I can relate with it.
Yeah.
I remember my wife came to the healing school. I was in 2018, and prior to the time, she was diagnosed with fibroid. But we brought our daughter because she had congenital heart disease, a hole in her heart. While our dear man of God laid hands on her, and she fell under the power on my daughter, they said something, she felt a discharge liver. So she dropped my daughter with my younger sister and ran to the restroom. The fibroid fell off.
Wow.
So she didn't. It was not among. It wasn't written on the case. It wasn't written there. But like Pastor, like German God always say, God knows the house address. So now going forward to this particular program coming up.
No, but before we get to the program coming up, you know, sometimes when people hear testimonies and hear from people's mouth, they may be like, these are, you know, concocted stories. But when you see people who actually are the testifiers, you know, saying, this is me now, this is what I used to be before, it always makes a difference. We're going to take a video clip, a testimony, you know, one of the people who received, you know, healings during the previous healing streams with the man of God, Pastor Chris. We really hope that this inspires you and stirs up your faith for the next healing streams with the man of God, Pastor Chris. Let's watch this.
I'm Anna, and I'm here to testify of God's goodness in my life this year through the healing stream. Earlier this year, well, last year, I started getting ill. Didn't know what it was. I started having mass. I started feeling something like a lump growing on the side of my neck. I thought it was just a normal sore throat that was going to go away. But it didn't go away after a few weeks. So I went into the doctor, and they did some testing, and they said, we'll call you. But in the meantime, the pain had intensified, the ability to eat was slowing down, diminishing. So I went again to a different doctor, this time at the emergency room, and I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. So of course it was confirmed by other doctors, my primary care doctor, and of course other specialists. It's like, yeah, you have thyroid cancer, and this is your treatment plan. This is what we're gonna do from here on out. Surgery is a likely possibility, and then we'll go from there. So when I received that diagnosis, but before the diagnosis, like I said, the illness was so debilitating because of the level of pain associated with cancer, and the fever. It's just complete weakness. The attack on your body is so debilitating that basic things that I could do before, I struggled to do them. And so I was just in bed for weeks. I was in bed. and could barely move around. So doing the healing stream, my brother sent me the link and said, attend the service. And I attended the first day. The second day, the man of God came on. I was doing the service. He instructed us to place our hand to the side of our pain, one hand to the side of the pain or the illness, and then the other hand into his hand on our device.
There's some of you who literally have to put your hand on the screen right now. Can you come closer? Bring the screen closer. You can touch my hand right now on the screen. The power of God is reaching you. Right now, just put your hand over my hand right now. The power of God is reaching you. Right now. Be healed. Be healed.
So I virtually placed my hands into Pastor Chris's hand on my cell phone, and then I placed my hand on my neck where the mask had been. Instantaneously, I received my healing. Fever was gone, pain was gone. I had strength. I could get up from my bed and walk downstairs to come and joyfully share with my boys that I am healed. And they wanted to confirm that by taking my temperature. So my boys took my temperature and they realized my fever that was over 103. Now my temperature was around 97 degrees. It had dropped instantaneously, and they joined me in praising God. And I came downstairs for the first time in several days for me to be able to eat solid food. I was able to eat and I was able to swallow without the pain. And I am so thankful. A few days later, I went to the doctor to prep for surgery. They were going to tell me what was going to be included in my treatment plan. So I went in, they did testing, ultrasound, all the various radiological testing to confirm that the mass is still there and the size of the mass, if it's grown, etc. All of the testing that day, I was in the hospital for about 6 hours. All of the testings came back negative. They were all negative. And several days after that and weeks after that, I was still testing, and they could not explain what happened. But I knew, because I knew I received my healing. And so I've been going back for blood tests, and everything been coming back normal. And all of my blood functions are all normal again. So I'm so thankful to God for the work He is doing in the life of our man of God, Pastor Chris, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the power of God that is at work in you, for you to have reached me while I was on my sick bed here in the U.S., and for me to instantaneously receive my healing. So I thank you. I thank you for everything you are doing around the globe to bring healing to so many others who are suffering. And to the leadership of the Healing Stream, I say thank you. Thank you for your direction. Thank you for your prayer. And thank you for this great program that is reaching billions around the world and curing and bringing healing, divine healing to people. So thank you.
Do you know it takes just a few moments to register for the Healing Stream's live healing services with the man of God, Pastor Chris? Just follow these simple steps. Step 1. Log on to www.healingstreams.tv and click on the registration button. Step 2. Fill in your details and submit. But if you require healing in your body, check the box below. Step 3. Fill in other information required and submit. Other registration information will be sent to your email address once your registration is completed. Don't delay. Register now and share the link with everyone in your sphere of contact. The Healing Stream's live healing services with Pastor Chris. Your set time for your miracle.
You know, there's something that they say right now. What God does not do does not exist. You know, that's the thing with the healing streams. And that was an outstanding testimony. Even when you're diagnosed the Bible tells us, as whose report would you believe?
That's why.
Whose report should you believe? Our man of God is the prophet of these times. And someone who, he doesn't just come out, sometimes you've heard people say, these things are planned, these things are prearranged. How can you prearrange billions of people, to say, look, you stay in strategic places. I'm going to call your case now. Sometimes these things beat the natural mind. Yeah. This can only be done by the Spirit of God. And this is one out of billions of testimonies as a result of the March edition of the Healing Streams Live. Now we're expecting the July edition. And one thing that is synonymous with the life of a Christian is the fact that it's upward and forward only, from glory to glory. March had over 4.3 billion people. And now this is July, the 9th to 11th. I'm seeing 6 billion.
Absolutely.
In attendance of these healing streams. And now for someone who is watching, okay, how can I receive a miracle? You said it's not just a healing in my body. What if my son, is struggling with a bad habit, or there's something about a family member I need to change? It has nothing to do with my body. Can I register that one for these healing streams? Or what can I do? How can I build my faith in preparation for the 9th to the 11th of July?
Now, firstly, the program is for everyone, whether you're sick in your body or not. Now, but the interesting part is somehow someone knows someone who's sick, someone has someone who has a challenge, so it extends to everyone. But the program is open to everyone. And like our esteemed CEO would say, a sign of your expectation is your registration. So you've got to register first. It's a program that requires your registration. So I would ask you to register. Now, it doesn't matter if you require healing or not. Remember that during the period of the pandemic, a man of God stood out, and through his teachings, faith was saturated all over the world. And
very true.
as a result of the pandemic, there were a lot of people who became ill, couldn't access Medicare. So I would say it's time to heal the world. So Healing Streams Live Healing Services is so important because every single nation requires a cleansing. And that's why Healing Streams Live Healing Services is so important. So register, and in preparing for the Healing Streams Live Healing Services, now we've had several testimonies of individuals who have benefited from the previous edition. Now, one of the things I would ask you to do, you can get on our website, the Healing Streams TV website, and access testimonies of individuals with diverse conditions who have benefited from the previous edition. That will spark up faith in your heart, to prepare yourself for the upcoming one. So it's something everyone really needs to do.
Like what you said is very, very important, because I know that prior to the time where before August 12th that we met with our dear man of God, we had to go through the classes, and we had testimonies. All of the testimonies stirred our faith up. I still remember the child that had a cancer brain from South Africa, and when they asked her what do you want to say, he said, what can I say unto the Lord? All I have to say is thank you, Lord. I remember the song, and when that girl sang the song, I looked at my daughter, I said, I know that this hole does not exist.
Hallelujah.
And actually, from August 12, 2018 till date, she was just 3 years, June 12. She had never had any issue at all.
All right.
Now, I want to ask, in all of these preparations, how do one really, can they have like a viewing center? Can they have, knowing that people were blessed?
I want people to be a part of it.
Because I don't want to just stay alone to myself. But how can people have different, have more people partake or participate in this thing? Because it is something interesting. Knowing that what we're doing is, like what scripture says, Acts 20:32, I commend you to God. Now we're commending men to the healing streams. So how do we tell them? But some persons are in the remote areas. If I want to talk about like Nigeria now, for example, there's some places where the creeks, all of this, and how do they have access to it? Internet or all that things. How could do it?
All right, now maybe very quickly, in the previous edition we had in March, we had someone, a minister in the US, who set up healing centers in 4 countries. But she was based in the US.
Wow.
In fact, what really beat my mind was that she set up a healing center in Ibadan, here in Nigeria.
Wow.
Now, she was not physically present here, but through her network of ministers, she had to set up a healing center. Now, talking about individuals who are probably in remote areas where internet access is not readily available or accessible to them, you as an individual can set up a healing center.
Okay.
So you can say to yourself, I'm going to take healing to people in remote areas. So I'm going to set up a healing center there, okay, so that this individual can participate in the program. Now, also, apart from the healing centers where you can set up in hospital, offices, schools, correctional centers, and the likes of them, you can also set up a virtual center, which we call the watch party. Now, the beauty about the virtual center is it doesn't require your participation for them to be a part of it. Unlike other social media you have to be connected for them to watch.
Be a part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But now with this virtual center, all you need to do is to set up a virtual center,
Okay.
customize your link. Now with your link, anybody can join and participate whether or not you are logged in.
Wow.
And also the virtual center is such that it's quite interactive. So you can chat with those connected with you on your virtual center, ensure they're participating, even get feedback, real-time feedback from them participating. So the virtual center is something I encourage everyone to take advantage of. Remember, we want to reach the whole world, and each one of us have networks of people in our digital space.
Very
so
true.
create a virtual center, customize your link, spread it abroad, and let's reach the world with the healing.
Okay, so
story.
finally, in creating of the virtual centers, how do we do that?
Okay, basically, it's on our website. It's www.healingstreams.tv/virtual.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, once you log in, of course, you fill in your details, create, and right there, you have your customized link, which is unique to you. So with that link, you can share the link with your friends on your social media space, and bam, you're connected.
Because
Connected.
I'm looking forward to hosting several virtual parties.
Yeah.
You know, just like we have virtual parties, I use the word virtual party because it is a party, because we are going to be celebrating
Celebrating.
miracles in different parts of
Yes.
the world,
Yes.
whether it's a remote area, whether it's a civilized area, whether it's a bar, it's a hospital or prison yard, we are going to be celebrating miracles, whether it's miracles of salvation, miracles of healing in their body, in their minds, in their finances, whatever it is.